Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Sales Manager Academy podcast. As always, I'm your host, Omar. And before I start, I want to say, hey, yes, I was gone for about a week or two. Stuff came up. A lot of things happened, went on vacation, went out of the state. So, with that, plus back to school season is right here, right? Getting my kids ready for school. A lot going on. So, yeah, took a little bit of a break from the cast to be able to take care of other stuff. And just as always, guys, you got to learn how to disconnect and be able to take time away from things, okay? And focus on things that are important. Work isn't everything, it will be there when you get back. That's the way it is. And that's the thing about leadership that you have to understand that it doesn't all just fall on you. I was talking to somebody today about that because they were asking, they came to me with a question. They're like, "Hey, Omar, yeah, like a buddy of mine has this store, and he has this employee that keeps essentially leaving, coming back, leaving, coming back, and it's very low staffed, right? And obviously, they keep bringing that employee back on board. And I'm like, hey, eventually, you just gotta cut it. But here's the thing, right? He's like, the person's a great salesperson. They're trying to move him to leadership roles. And that's why he keeps leaving, coming back, leaving, coming back. You can have great salespeople. Great salespeople do not mean that they'll become a great leader or a great manager. That's a different kind of skill set that needs to be developed. You can't just tell people, I'm a great seller, and just become a great seller. That's not it. And what I told them is like, it's not that people can't become great sellers, it's that the path for them isn't there. They don't have a path to go from salesperson to leader or go from newbie to salesperson. And I told them that one of the biggest issues that a lot of salespeople that get promoted into a leadership role end up having is that they don't understand and they also forget what it is to be new. But one of the things that they don't understand is that not everybody is like them. Guys, there are people out there that will take it upon themselves to learn something, even outside of work. Okay. When it came to leadership, when it came to salesmanship, I took it upon myself to learn a bunch of things, investing my own money into different programs, mentorships, into different mastermind groups, all of this stuff. None of it was something that the organizations I was with was offering or giving to me. But I ended up doing that because it was something that I learned from somebody else. I was taught how to be essentially self sufficient or how to be able to learn things that I was interested in, especially when it came to those two topics. And if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't understand or wouldn't know what I didn't know. And I told him a lot of salespeople don't understand that. And then the worst part is they're getting put into these leadership roles, these manager roles, with organizations also not understanding that because they think I'm just going to put you here, you're going to figure it out. But they forget what it is to be a brand new person. They forget what it is to have that learning curve. They forget that not everybody has those resources, those mentors, those guides that help them get to that point where they themselves are learning all this stuff on their own. They're taking time to learn this craft, to master their craft and practicing it and just trying to become better at what they do. And he's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I was like, yes. Like, and here's the thing. I told him, if it was me, I would rather imagine hiring brand new people, training them up to be about 50 to 60% as good as you. But now you got 10, 20 of them. They will constantly outperform what you can do by yourself because there's more of them. And the beautiful thing is that they will become better with training and developing over time. Hell, within 90 days, they could be as good as, they could be 80% as good as some of your tenured employees. He's like, really? I was like, yes. Not all of them will be, but depending on the training, there's a very high likelihood as you get better at the training and development portion of within your organization or even just within your team. If your organization's not willing to do it, take it upon yourself. Do it, build it, and your organization will come to you asking you, hey, how did you do this? We need to bring this out. We need to roll this out to the rest of the company, the rest of the org chart. Or it might be your regional or your director that comes to you and says, hey, I need you to roll this out to these other stores because you're doing so good. I need this to happen to the other ones. And then that's how it cascades to the rest of the organization. That's how those things happen. It isn't, oh, you did good at this location. Now we're going to do a company initiative and everybody's going to start doing this. It doesn't work that way. It starts little by little, but that little by little does snowball. But that's the same thing when it comes to your people and their training and their development. They end up learning how to become better little by little. Now, some of them might pick it up and might rock it and be fucking amazing within the first, 30, 45 days. The majority of them are going to take closer to 90 days to be able to get that point where they're about 60 to 80% comparable to one of your new or one of your tenured employees. But that's a fucking new hire. Imagine being able to do that. And then they are trained up, they've leveled up, and now they can perform and do things on their own. Now, you as a leader can step aside and actually focus on what matters. Whether that's driving new business to your locations, whether that's trying to get new locations for the organization, whether that's building better vendor relationships, partner relationships to be able to do more events or be able to get more attention to your organization, whether that's your org chart inside of the company or to the organization as a whole. That's where you want to get to as a leader, where you're not just helping to drive the focus within the four walls, but more importantly, you're actually a force of impact to the actual organization where you're at because you're helping to bring in additional business that wouldn't have normally came out, that your actual employees, your staff, your stores, your locations are able to reap the rewards of. And then you can teach them how to do that. So now you're leveraging your expertise and knowledge of being able to get business outside of those four walls to come into the organization. That's what it means to be a leader that can step it up. It is not sending these, oh, you better do this or else. Okay, so fuck. What else? Fire me. Let me go. Write me up. What is that going to do? And that's where the leadership aspect has to evolve. That's where you have to go from being a person that's constantly, well, just do what I say. How did you get there? Guys, I cannot tell you this enough when it comes to good salespeople. Most of them have ADHD. Telling them, do what I say and don't ask questions isn't going to get very fucking far. Okay. You're going to churn and burn a lot of employees. And then you're going to wonder, why can't I find people? You can't find people because you can't fucking retain people. If you think the people coming on board to your organizations don't realize that, hey, the majority of these people haven't been here very long, but the organization's been here for, 10, 20, 30 plus years. If you don't think they see that and wonder why the hell do they have such a high churn rate, a high turnover rate when it comes to employees, the writing's on the wall. They will leave. Okay. Some of them sooner than others. Some of them might leave within the first week. A majority of them are going to leave within the first 90 days because you haven't found a way to stabilize that, to actually train them up, to make them actually want to give a damn about what they're doing. Guys, regardless of what you think you hear on the news or what you know about generational whatever, most people want to work. They actually want to be able to bring value to something. Okay? They want to be part of something. But that alone is not enough for them to stay in a place where they're not going to get actual training and development. That is why there's so many people doing side hustles. Apart from some of the other things that are obvious. Okay. If you guys have watched my channel long enough, you guys understand that, hey, there are certain things I believe we should be doing better as, a country, as organizations, as fucking leaders. Okay. But that's a topic for another day. Today, we're talking about what you as a leader can have a direct impact and control over, which is the training and development of your people so that they will stay and actually grow within the organization. Because guess what happens when you have employees that say past the 1 year mark? They know what the fuck they're doing. They understand the systems and the processes and the procedures. They actually perform. Okay? When you have a great leader, they do those three things. and you're able to focus less on needing to find new hires and training them up and losing all that opportunity in the meantime while they're being trained, while you're trying to find them. Okay? Because you think, oh, I just brought them on board, we're good. 2 weeks and they're on the job. Hell, if you give them 2 weeks, I know some of you guys want to give them maybe a day of onboarding and that's it. Figure it out. You're on your own. Or you give them a week and they're out there trying to figure out, okay, you've actually planned it out and you've had this whole thing where they're supposed to meet certain individuals and then they're going through, oh, this got moved to this. Oh, this person's actually not in. You know what? They're not in. Why don't you go to talk to this individual? When that is your onboarding for new hires, they understand a few things. One, you guys have no idea what the fuck you're doing. Two, it probably means there's a high churn rate when it comes to the employees there. Okay. And three, hey, I'm probably not going to make it because I'm already going to have my foot out the door. I'm looking for something else. Well, at least they have their fucking footing. That is why the training and development portion is so important. We've talked about how in the interview process, it's not just you as an organization interviewing the individual on the other side of the table, it's also them interviewing you and the organization to see if they're going to be at least a fit for the company, if the company's going to be a fit for what they believe in and what they want to actually be a part of. Okay. Is it a stepping stone to something else that they have in mind in the future? And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Especially when they tell you up front, hey, my goal is to do this. Great. If you can be somebody or an organization that can help elevate that dream for them and get them closer to it, and in the meantime, they can actually bring value to the organization while they're part of it, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. You're not going to have growth opportunities for all your employees. End of story. That's just not going to be the reality of things. But you can develop them enough so that your organization is known for developing great salespeople, great leaders, great individuals as a whole. That speaks volumes. And that's what you want to be able to do as a leader. And you can't be hiring and then just promoting great salespeople that are natural talents. They're not natural talents. They took it upon themselves to do something because somebody down their path in their lifetime showed them how to research things, how to find proper resources, how to be self sufficient. Being self sufficient doesn't mean you do it on your own. It means that you're able to leverage your resources, whether that's other individuals, groups, mentors, whatever the case is. And they learned that. And along the way, they've been getting better at a craft or skill that they've wanted to become better at. Just like anything else. Doesn't matter if it's working out, doesn't matter if it's a sport, doesn't matter if it's a blue collar trade. Soft skills like selling and being empathetic and leadership, those are still learned skills that take time to develop. Trial and error. What works for me as an individual and what doesn't work for me as an individual. It takes time to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to just hire somebody in and within 3 months think, okay, they're a manager now. They got this. I don't have to do anything else. They're just going to do it on their own because they did great at selling. What it means is you're going to be bleeding out so much on the employee side, and it's going to end up costing you so much opportunity because by the time you can get them to a point where they're trained up, you might get one or two people, but you lost 8 to 10 individuals that you had already onboarded. You can't be running that game because it's not sustainable. When you are doing more than just restocking shelves, when you actually have to interact with individuals because that's how the business moves forward, your people need to know what it is they're doing. They need to understand the processes that are in place because that's how you're actually going to be able to make those deals happen and actually be able to grow the business as a whole. Because it's not the products that they're selling, it's about the connections that they're making. And they're going to take that from their leadership or lack of leadership. Because if they don't have a mentor in their leader that's helping them become better, then that's going to pass along to their interactions with their clients and customers. And those individuals aren't going to end up being treated fairly. So they're going to end up leaving and giving that location a bad reputation, which is going to harm the organization in the long run. So focus on training and developing your people, whether they're a seller, whether they're getting into a management role. It is upon you to make them better by showing them the resources available, by mentoring them and guiding them, and understanding that it is going to take time for them to be able to develop these skills. And in the meantime, you are going to be putting in extra work. It will not be just basic, okay, I'm in, out, and that's it. Because they do need a little bit more direction. But once they're trained up, when they've been developed, okay, growth is an ongoing thing. One thing about life is that change is constant and growth is ever occurring. But you'll be able to develop people to a point where they can do it on their own, move forward on their own, grow on their own. And seeing how they can get from that point to the next point, there's nothing better as a leader than seeing that. I kid you not. The closest thing I've found to that feeling, right? And by far, I will say it is far more enriching for me, right? Is watching my kids grow. It's almost comparable to that, right? Seeing other people grow, in a sense, evolve from where they came from, and seeing that change is one of the most amazing things. So, guys, as a leader, you have to take them under your wing and you have to understand you can't just be throwing random things out there and expecting things to just stick on the wall. Your people deserve training, they deserve development. You also deserve to not be working 60, 80 hours a week when you can do something far better by training and developing others and helping them train and develop their teams. And you'll see that you'll have more impact and be working less because it's not going to feel like work when you're doing it. Guys, I want to say thank you once again for stepping into another episode here at the Sales Manager Academy podcast. Don't forget, hit that like and follow button. That way you're up on everything that comes out. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.